This is an Evergreen Media Network studio production. Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Well, welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show, an online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. And when we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. Can you imagine life without computers? And could you imagine trying to run a business without them? While it's not impossible, who would want to? Well, there's a lot more to it than simply connecting some PCs together and accessing the internet. Joining me in the studio today is Samuel Schultz, and he is the owner of AVAILIT Business and Technology Solutions, and he and his team partner with their clients for success in business. He has a lot of great information to share to help you grow your business. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ellen. Glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. This is a great time of year, being in the very beginning of 2024. You know, people have personal goals, and then business owners are constantly looking to make sure that they have the best systems in place, the best technology. They want to grow their business, and you help them with that, right? So before we get into that, though, I would love for you to share with everyone why you wanted to be in IT in the first place and what made you want to start your own firm.
Well, the first part, why I wanted to get into IT in the first place, is just because I have a natural desire to understand how things work. It's just always trying to figure out why when you do something here, that happens, or what causes things to happen the way they do. And then why I wanted to start my own business was mostly because my other passion is helping and serving, and what better way to do that than have your own business where you can go ahead and help people with something that they find difficult, such as technology. Oh yeah, a lot of people want nothing, to do with that. They want other people to help them. So you were the kid at 5 years old that was dismantling everything in the house, weren't you? Absolutely, yeah. My wife would tell you I probably had about 26 computers when we were first married in our living room. Yeah, taking them apart, trying to cluster them together back in the days when that was kind of new. Yeah, well, good times. Okay, so now what I like about your website when you go to it, so sometimes, like especially if you're networking and you say, oh, I have an IT company, people seem to think, okay, yep, you fix computers, you help people buy new ones, okay, I got it. But there's a lot more to it. And what I like, the very beginning of your website, which I mentioned in the intro, is you want to partner with people so that way they're growing, as they're growing their business, you're helping them with that. So that's actually really nice. So what I'd like to know is more about what that means for you and how you've helped some clients do that. Yeah. Sure. Well, everybody's business is different. And so while you all need a network, you all might need particular applications or computers. Not every application is the same. You don't need the same size or performance of a computer. And then you might have different goals in your business than somebody else. So if you have a long-term goal of getting to that particular point where you're going to bring your business to where that next stage of development, instead of just buying or working towards solutions that meet the current need, I also try and encourage clients to think about the long-term need. So that way we don't have to spend extra effort or money on things that are only going to be a temporary fix. So that's kind of what I envision as a more consultative approach, helping you not just fix things, but proceed to where you want to be in the future.
Yeah, and that's really nice. Especially, yes, you're helping if someone's hair is on fire, so to speak,
Right.
with IT. But yeah, it is nice for people to actually sit and think about, where am I now? Where do I want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And what does that mean for my technology? So
I find most businesses do that already with their current clients. They want to not just meet their current need, but also help them meet a long-term objective, whether it's consumer-based or business-based. Right? When you build a building, it's not going to last you don't expect it to last just a couple years. You expect it to last 30, 50, a lot more than that. So I kind of take the same approach.
Okay. Well, I like that a lot. And then the other thing I noticed is that it's like all of these, you had the solutions and then you have your services, and I hit both, and then the drop-down box. But the drop-down box dropped way down for both. And as I'm looking at everything, I was like, wow, this is like a one-stop shop. It was way more than what I thought that you would offer. So let's talk a little bit about that, to talk about the other things, that you offer.
And most of that is because a lot of technology, if you're going to do it right, it really relies on other pieces of technology. When you're doing a phone system, for instance, you can't have a good VoIP phone system without having a solid infrastructure of your network. When you're trying to make sure that your internet is running properly, well, what's the point of having decent internet if your computer's super slow or your Wi-Fi always breaks down? So a lot of it plays off of each other. And so there is a wide gambit of services I offer, from desktop computers, like you mentioned, servers, phone systems, even surveillance video cameras. Really anything that intersects technology. I even help some clients with data migrations, moving from one accounting software to another, keeping their information when they're trying to export to even custom POS systems, for that matter. Just a wide range of services. So now, and that's the thing also, you mentioned on your website about managing AR and AP, so accounting solutions. So is it that you put the enterprise software and you install it for them? Is that what that's all about? Or it's really what the customer needs. Yes, I will handle the installation, handle the migration, help them with training for how to use their software, even with some best practices for accounting or best practices for that regular bookkeeping entries. And a lot of times, though, when you're trying to integrate like a POS system with your accounting software and you want to make it more automated, you have to have a little bit of a bookkeeping background in order to get those debits and credits right.
Right. And so you have that in your background then. Very nice. Okay. So that's a good thing to know. And then so the POS systems, that seems to confound a lot of business owners. They want simple, and and sometimes that isn't always the best thing. They're like, oh, I'll just do Square, but maybe I'm not saying that Square isn't good. It's good for some people, but it might not be good for other businesses where they're trying to expand. So how do you actually help them with the POS systems? Yeah,
everything from inventory to the actual processing of transactions. I have a lot of integrations I've worked with for credit card processing companies. I can make some recommendations for bookkeeping software as well, things that are all cloud-based or at least forward-thinking when it comes to solutions. I have some clients that I provide them POS hardware, or I just do integrations with. It's a wide gambit.
Yes. Okay. And then let's talk about virtualization. You have that word literally on your website. So explain that a little bit.
Well, there's a few different concepts for that, but mainly it's when it comes to servers, you can have a lot of different applications or programs running on a server, and then even accessible to your desktop clients or users from a remote workstation itself. Because when it comes to software, there's a lot of times very expensive software, like whether engineers, architects, a lot of firms will have very expensive software and hardware that needs to run on. such as high-end graphics cards or very heavy processing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can virtualize access to those products and save on licensing costs. Also decrease the amount of maintenance needed for making sure that software is up to date on all your computers. It helps with making sure that, especially if you have a wide user base,
Mm-hmm.
that those users, if their computer fails, well, it's not going to impact your business, because now you have to spend 2 days getting it back up and running
Mm-hmm.
while they can't access that software that's going to generate revenue for your company.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's the idea of virtualization, putting it all in one place that's redundant, backed up,
Mhm.
and a lot more resilient to failure. It's not going to be on a laptop that a employee will be taking out and potentially lose or break.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the big advantages for having virtualized applications
Yeah.
on a server.
Okay. All right. Very good. And then going back to the surveillance, now does that cover outside of a property as well as inside? So let's talk about the surveillance.
Sure. Yeah. I just got finished doing a project for a homeowners association in town. Actually, their security team. And so they have several gates that access their facilities,
Mm-hmm.
and it's both inside and outside, but they specifically wanted to be able to track license plates of the people that run through the gates.
Oh.
Literally run through the gates. They would break the gates, and it would cost them money to replace.
So you're not talking about the person that does the code, the gate opens, and then the second car just follows them in. You're
No.
not talking about that.
Well, that could be them if they ran through and broke the gate, right? Because a lot of these are very fast closing gates. So they want to make sure that whoever's responsible for breaking the gate, even if it's a resident, they can bill them properly instead of eating the cost of that. So there's a lot of real world implications for the benefits of having surveillance.
I wouldn't have even thought of honestly breaking through a gate.
Well, and
But
even,
does that really happen, Cindy?
and even for the standard business who might not have that need,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of times you don't think about the liability that comes with just people coming onto your property from trips and falls.
Okay.
Somebody making a claim of inappropriate behavior or a claim
Mhm.
of theft
Mm-hmm.
or misconduct or treating somebody poorly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to having security cameras, and I've found that generally people who are even employees, staff members that really want to do a good job and strive to have a good job really like to have that accountability of a software or
Yeah.
a security surveillance system.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. There's another client that one of their employees was pushing for it because they're like, no, I'm doing what you're asking me to do every time, but it's somebody else that's failing to do their job, and so it's making him look bad.
Oh, yeah.
And he really wanted that security camera system in there so he could prevent that from happening and just have true accountability.
Yeah, no, that's a very good idea. You brought back a memory. I was in staffing and recruiting down in Fort Lauderdale, and it was construction staffing, and it was day labor.
Mhm.
And they had a dummy camera because every now and then the employees would get assaulted by the people coming in looking for work.
Yeah.
It was a little scary. That never happened to me, though, thankfully. But it was a dummy camera because the company didn't want to pay for the surveillance, but it kept them in line.
And the nice thing is surveillance cameras, even the good IP ones, have come down in price significantly. So it's not as
This is
out
like
of
20
reach.
years ago I'm
Right.
talking. So
Well, and the quality is just significantly better than it's been.
Mhm.
So it's a lot more affordable and useful now than it's ever been.
yeah, absolutely. Look at the time, Cindy. Neither one of us, she's waving the take a break. But this was a really great conversation in the first half. But before we take a break, for the first half, for those that are listening and watching on iHeartRadio and the podcasts, what is your web address and your phone number?
It's www.availit, that's AVAILIT.us.
And the phone number is 772-264-4400.
Very good. And now we're going to take a quick break, but we have a lot more to discuss. When we return, we'll be right back.
Sure, they were born in Jersey, but they were made in America. An attitude and a sound like no other. Jersey Boys is the international musical phenomenon that takes you behind the scenes and behind the music of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
I'll go on living and keep on forgiving because
Who knew four guys from New Jersey would turn the world upside down with a unique sound that nobody had heard, but radio couldn't get enough of? Over 10 years on Broadway, winner of 4 Tony Awards with worldwide performances. It's the award-winning musical of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, featuring over 15 of their certified gold songs, and you know them all. Jersey Boys, now playing at Vero's magnificent Riverside Theater. Get your best tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
Don't sweat in your boxers. Call the AC doctors at 344-3944.
York, install confidence. Contact the AC Doctors, acdoctorsinc.com.
It feels like you've been struggling to hold it together for so long, for so many people, for the kids, for your parents, for your coworkers. Now it's your time to unstruggle. When life is a struggle, getting help shouldn't be. Visit unstruggle.org.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I'm with Samuel Schultz of AVAILIT Business and Technology Solutions. We had a great conversation about all of these different services. It's way more than just buying computers and fixing them. There's a lot. So you have to go to availit.us, but Samuel will give you that URL later. Okay, we have to go on here. Now, another thing that you touched on about redundancy with the virtualization.
Yeah.
We're in Florida. Okay, what do we have here in Florida on occasion?
Just a standard wind gust here or there, you know.
Yeah, hurricanes, thunderstorms. Sometimes the thunderstorms can do enough damage to knock us out for a little while.
Oh, yes.
So do you help with that?
Well, absolutely.
What do you do about that?
Well, everybody, if you don't have a plan for backups, currently you need to have one. It's not a matter of if or when, whether it's natural disaster like you were talking about, Ellen, or even ransomware or other viruses or malware. I have another client that was just telling me I think it was just a few years ago they had ransomware. And I wasn't a client, they weren't a client at the time, but apparently they had to get rid of their entire server, every desktop's hard drive they literally threw away and then started all over from scratch. If they didn't have a backup from 2 years prior, they would have been out of luck. And they still lost 2 years of data because they didn't have a recent backup. So don't be one of those cases of that misfortunate event. Backup. Have some sort of redundancy in your systems there.
Is that a service that you would offer if it's like, let's say it's a medium? We have a lot of, mom and pop businesses here, and they, the larger companies will have an in-house IT person or team.
Yep.
But you are the outsourced version of that, are you not?
Absolutely. And again, with cloud-based storage, it's become very affordable too. I offer a backup solution that will not only back up your computer, it'll back up your servers, it'll back up your databases, it can back up virtualized environments, back up your Mac computers, Windows, all of the above, and it'll do it at a very affordable rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot. So if you don't have a plan, actually, that's probably when you first meet with a client, right? And this is the next question is I want to know what it's like to start working with you. So Mr. and Mrs. Mom and Pop are calling you up and they want to know about your services and your area of coverage and all of that. Do you have like an intake where you ask them questions like, what would you do if the power went out right now? Do you ask them questions like that to scare them?
Not particularly to scare them, no.
Right.
I mean, I will
I like
ask
to
them.
scare people. Just kidding. But seriously, do you ask them questions like that? Like, what would you do if this, if that?
I generally start with like a consultative type of visit, usually half an hour, just to kind of get a good idea of what their systems are. A lot of times they'll have a specific goal in mind for my visit. And so we will have a tendency to focus on that. And I find it better to address the immediate concern. And then once in doing that, I'll become more acquainted with your systems and then work out, maybe what a long-term solution would be, make some recommendations after we address your immediate goal. Because usually when somebody calls me, they have a need that needs to be fixed right away.
Yeah. Yeah, usually people are not saying, hey, I was thinking it's a great idea to just get things set up in advance. No, hair is on fire. Help me.
That would be ideal. That would be a
Wouldn't that?
perfect client. So if you need help, let me know.
Okay, so now we're in the beginning of 2024, and if you're thinking about making some moves, now is the time to call Samuel. And you know what? This is a perfect time, as good as any, in the second half to give your contact information and website.
Sure. Once again, it's AVAILIT, and you can reach me online at www.availit.us. AVAILIT is AVAILIT. Or you can reach me 772-264-4400.
Okay, very good. And okay, so now what are there specific industries that you work with, or do you work with all types of businesses?
Yeah, really any size of business, from your small mom and pop all the way up to the federal government.
Okay.
I am now on the sam.gov site and can work with the public sector as well. And but I really do like working with small businesses and medium-sized businesses. It's a lot more fulfilling when you can really help someone go from ground start to finish on their business. It's like you get an opportunity to be more involved, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, very nice. And then what about your area of coverage?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go anywhere from probably about 20 miles.
You're here in Vero. You're located here in Vero.
Yes.
But
I do a lot of work out in Orlando, Port St. Lucie, and I'll go up as far as Melbourne as well. So a nice little circle of coverage here. And
even down into Martin County as well?
Yeah, it depends on the project.
Okay.
I can do remote stuff anywhere, but yeah, or project based anywhere. But when it comes to regular, everyday, help with IT, I like to keep it a little more local.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. And okay, so that's good. Now we have a couple of minutes left. So was there something that you wanted to talk about specifically about any particular service, something that you wanted your prospective clients to know about what you offer?
Well, there's really...
See, we have 2 minutes, so you have 60 seconds officially to answer that question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not anything too deep then, huh?
Yeah. We can't solve world peace or hunger now, but another time.
Yeah. Okay. Just when it comes to AI and things like that, I'm going to be doing
Thank you.
A talk about, it's a great thing that we're having AI, but it also opens up a lot more doors to other potential concerns. One of the big things when it comes to protecting your business from potential malware or viruses and things like that is making sure that you only click on links in emails and follow emails that are valid. And unfortunately, with the advancement of AI, gone are the days when you can identify a fraudulent email or bad email by poor grammar or other things that don't make sense.
Ooh.
So you really have to start paying attention to those emails, and if that's something we can help you with as well.
Well, that's very good. So then this is actually, it's bad for us, but good for you. And I'm glad that I know you personally, and we met at Marine Bank, networking. So that's fantastic. And I'm glad that you were on today at this time, because I know that there's a lot of businesses that need you now more than ever, especially for pre-planning. So pre-plan. Don't wait till your hair is on fire. That's what I have to say. So thank you so very much for being on the show. Okay. And hopefully you'll come back at another time. We can dive deep into something else, another IT topic. But until then, my name is Ellen Contreras. I'm the host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope everyone has a safe, wonderful, productive week. Until next week, I miss you already.